Hey guys, this is the mind of Lilith, and thank you for joining me today. Hello to all of my new subscribers and the OGs. I hope you are all doing well and that you're happy, healthy, safe, and at peace. I wanted to hop on quickly today to talk about this really sad story about a young woman who was 20 years old who was killed by her boyfriend, who was a military officer. I believe he was in the Navy. And the reason why she was killed was because she refused to terminate her pregnancy. So the young woman's name is Raquiah Paulette King. She was 20 and her boyfriend's name was Emmanuel Dewayne Coble, and he was 27 years old. And he shot her to death because she did not want to terminate her pregnancy. So according to the police, they were in a relationship for several months, and the young lady was 3 months pregnant at the time of her death, and Emmanuel did not want to have the baby, so he terminated his girlfriend and the baby. I'm bringing this up because I spoke in the past about women confusing sex with love, and I talked about this in the past when I was discussing the Love and Marriage Huntsville show and the fact that Ariane confused Martel's lust for her with love, which is why she convinced herself that having a child by him would bring them closer together, when all of the OGs and the elder women and men knew that a baby would essentially break them apart romantically. So what happens a lot in these situations is that young girls who don't know their fathers, or who have a broken or strained relationship with their fathers, they tend to misinterpret a man's attention or his lust for sex with love, because in a lot of instances a boyfriend gives a girl the kind of love or attention that she never received from her father. I don't want to say love. He gives her the attention that she never received from her father. So it's easy for her to misinterpret attention for love. A young lady on Instagram talked about, and this is a few weeks ago, she talked about the fact that a lot of young girls run away from home and they end up being in relationships with people who pretend to love them, because the person pretending to love them makes them feel better than the person who says they love them but treats them with disrespect. And this was a young lady speaking in front of a whole group of people about why her relationship with her mother is strained, because even though her mother said she loved her, and I guess her father wasn't present, she didn't feel that way. So she ran to where she felt love, even if it wasn't genuine and the man didn't really care about her. The man, or the guy that she was hanging out with, made her feel like she was loved because he was pretending to love her. This is one of the reasons why a lot of men say that women want to be lied to. Because sometimes lying makes you feel good. Sometimes lying allows you to deceive yourself and to trick yourself into thinking that things are better than what they are. It's kind of like a drug, right? So a lot of young women, this woman was just 20 years old, only 20 years old. She probably graduated high school 2-3 years ago, if that. This young lady, unfortunately, sought love in the wrong places. It is not her fault, because like Cynthia G always says, and I've said this myself, it is hard to vet or to find a suitable male when you're in a community of men who are selfish, violent, debaucherous, lustful, and irresponsible. So this is not all black men, of course, but by and large, a lot of black men, they want the pleasure of sex without the responsibility that comes with having unprotected sex. He was 7 years older than her. So if she was 19 and he was 26, she probably assumed that he was more mature, right? And he was also in the military. He wasn't some bum on a corner. He wasn't a drug addict. He wasn't a Ray Ray or Pookie or nothing. He was a military man, okay, in the Navy. Somebody with a career. He was a Navy lieutenant, which means that he was in the Navy for a while. He had some discipline. He had work ethic. He was responsible by and large, at least professionally. So she probably thought that he was a safe bet because he wasn't a Pookie or Ray Ray in the hood committing crimes, nothing. He was a professional man, okay, in the military, a very respectable position. But unfortunately, she was wrong, because as I've said before, a lot of men don't really care about women like that outside of how we can pleasure them. They only care about chasing the pleasure of a woman. They don't really respect the woman's humanity or her identity outside of how she can make them feel good or look good, right? And that's usually with sex and dressing up a certain way, dressing up sexy. So she probably thought they were in a legitimate relationship. I don't know her birthday, but I think she kept the baby because she thought they were in a legitimate relationship. Now, I don't know if this man is married or not, But in many instances, married men have no problem killing their girlfriends to hold on to their marriage. What's really sad about this story is the fact that she is the mother of his child. So he killed his girlfriend and his child, right? They were together and he had no problem getting rid of this woman and his baby. So this man who so-called loved this woman, who was having sex with her for at least a few months, this man would rather go to jail than to have a baby by a woman that he was having a sexual relationship with for several months. And this is a 20-year-old young girl. She's not some hoe with 4 and 5 baby daddies and all this other stuff. She's not none of that, right? She's really, really young, okay? She's younger than the golden age of 24, 25, a 20-year-old woman with limited experience in relationships. And she wanted to have this man's baby because she thought that they were in a relationship and he had other objectives. He had other plans. He was just using her for sex. He was using her as a placeholder for the woman he really wanted to be with. I'm not sure if he already had a girlfriend or a wife before he met her, but if he did, this makes it even worse because now you're bringing someone else into your dysfunction. This man basically punished this young woman because he did not want to be a father. He threw his whole life away because he did not want to father his own child. What kind of mentality do you have where you're willing to throw away your whole life because the woman you were having sex with, who's really young, who's beautiful, right, and who wants to hold on to the baby? She wants to hold on to your legacy. But you'd rather go to jail than make a commitment to a woman. These men are complete clowns. Not all of them, but this is just clownery here. A few weeks back, when they were talking about Roe versus Wade, this was one of the concerns that many women had about losing their right to terminate their pregnancy, because in a lot of cases, women are in danger when they hold on to their baby. These men are paying for abortions on one end and then complaining about the pervasiveness of abortions in the other. They want it both ways. They want to have unprotected sex. They want to blame the woman for getting pregnant, and then they want to blame the woman for having an abortion too. They don't want to take accountability for their role in kind of forcing a woman to make a very difficult choice. In order for me to save my life, I may have to terminate my pregnancy because I'm in danger and the baby's in danger. So if I'm dead, the baby's going to be dead too. So the only alternative that I have is to abort this baby in order to save my life. Most people don't talk about how many men are willing to pay for abortions, especially married men, okay, who have been cheating on their wives for years with someone they don't even want to be with. These are men who chose to break their vows and lie to their wife. They chose to lie to their girlfriends. They chose to have unprotected sex, even though they were the ones who had the most to lose, and they were the ones who had to lie to the girlfriend to convince her that unprotected sex was fine because they were in a relationship. They still place most of the blame on the woman for falling for the guy who used deception to seduce her in the first place. So it's your fault for being seduced by these men. But then when you give these men the stiff arm and the cold shoulder, you're a bitch. So again, this young girl lost her life because her boyfriend, who she was in an intimate relationship with, did not want to have a baby with her. To the young women who are listening to me, and you're in a situation where the man does not want to have a child with you, but you're having unprotected sex with him, especially if he has a girlfriend or a wife, please do not delude yourself into thinking that a baby is going to make you more desirable to him. It's not. You and that baby are going to be perceived as a financial and social and emotional liability, okay? And depending on the disposition or the desperation of that guy, your life could be in danger if you get pregnant by him. To men who are doing this, if you're listening and you're a man in this situation, first of all, you ain't shit. But second of all, if you are not interested in having a baby with the woman you're currently sleeping with, please make sure you use protection at all times. Do not put the responsibility on the woman, because most women want children by the man they're having sex with. The baby, in our mind, is an external representation or manifestation of the love we have for the father, for the most part. There are other reasons women decide to have children for men that they're not in relationships with, but for the most part, women do this when they're emotionally connected to or they love their partner, okay? So if you're having sex with a woman you don't love, please make sure you use protection, because if she gets pregnant, she's going to want to keep the baby. And if you convince her to terminate the pregnancy, right, she's going to grow to resent you, whether you stay together or not. A YouTuber named Sansere Monique recently discussed a topic where women should pretend to be pregnant to gauge their partner's reaction, okay? basically, you want to see how a man would react and respond to you if he thought you were having his baby. Unfortunately, that's not a fail-safe plan, because many men will pretend to want the child until maybe month 7, 8, or 9, or even until the baby is born, and then they'll completely switch up and act like that's not what they wanted in the first place. A lot of men use babies to trap women, okay, because they want to continue their legacy. They know that the woman's womb is the only way for that to happen. A lot of them will manipulate a woman into having a baby that they have no intention of taking care of consistently in order to secure their legacy or to hide their homosexuality. So that's not really a fail-safe plan, because some men may pretend to want to have a child with you until you actually have the child, and then they'll look at you like you're stupid. And it's your fault you got pregnant, and it's also your fault for believing their deception. So again, to recap, this young woman did not know any better. She was only 20 years old. And like many young women who are in their late teens and early 20s and even early 30s, they may misinterpret male attention for love because they have no other frame of reference for a healthy male interaction or relationship, especially if a young girl was sexually abused. Like, now her entire identity and self-worth may revolve around having sexual access to men as a way of receiving love from them. The idea of love and sex becomes even more confusing when you are a victim of sexual abuse, okay? If you are dating a man who has multiple women that he's juggling, please don't get pregnant by him and protect yourself. If you're dating a man who is already married, please don't get pregnant by him. I don't care what he told you. I do not care what he says about his wife. I don't care what he says his feelings are for you. I do not care, okay? And you shouldn't care either. If he's still married to that woman, he still values her and he still wants to be with her. It is very rare or impossible for a man to choose a situation he doesn't want to be in, okay? If a man is still married to his woman and he has you on the side, that's a choice. He's making his life more convenient and more pleasurable for him. If he's in a situation that he doesn't want to be in, like a marriage, he's going to do something to make it easier to stay in that marriage, right? Because he doesn't want to lose his money, his family, his wife, or whatever, but he's miserable. He's going to use you to make it easier to stay married to his wife because he doesn't want to let her go. You having a baby is not going to change that. You having a baby is going to make you an inconvenient liability and problem in his life. And some of these men don't deal with that too well. Some of these men resent the idea of a woman having control over their life to the point where they will really kill the woman, or they'll abuse her to the point where she doesn't even want to be around him anymore, okay? That's what I think happened in this situation. I think that the guy resented the idea of this young lady having some sort of control over his life and his finances at 27 years old. He may have wanted to have a perfect military life and career, okay? I don't know how the military feels about adultery and out of wedlock children, but I heard that the penalties were severe. And I think that this baby may have made it more complicated for him to rise in the ranks of his career. I think so. I'm just speculating here. But I sincerely believe that he did not want this 20-year-old woman to have any control over his life. Just like many married men don't want their side pieces to have control over their life. So many married men make their side pieces co-conspirators in deceiving the wife, right? Now you guys are working together to make sure that he stays married. You're not going to call the wife. You're going to make sure you protect the wife. You're going to make sure you don't expose his secrets because that's going to ruin his life. So the married man is going to convince his side piece that keeping his secret quiet means that you love him and that makes him value you more. And now you're more respectable and honorable and worthy of cheating with in his eyes, because you wouldn't be worth cheating with if you couldn't keep his secret. You would become a liability for wanting to take control over your life and your relationship by exposing the husband. Now, I don't think that women should do this by and large. A lot of women do it to hurt the wife and they have no intention of leaving the boyfriend. But a lot of times, women who are side pieces, they tell the wife everything that's happened to cut ties with the husband and to regain their self-respect and to give the wife a head up, okay? A few months ago, I talked about Avante Wright, and she was having an affair with the guy from Boys to Men for like 9 years. And once she realized that he was lying to her the entire time, she told the wife everything to cut ties with him and also to let the wife know what was happening. I think she also wanted to hurt him too, but his deception was so painful. I don't blame her for wanting to do that. Like, he was so manipulative and narcissistic, she had to do something to force him to stay away from her. And when she stopped protecting him, he lost respect for her. When this young lady, Raquiah, decided to hold on to this baby, her boyfriend, Emmanuel, probably felt like she was attacking his future. She was attacking his finances. She was attacking his reputation. And because of that, he needed to neutralize her to protect himself and his future, even if it meant going to jail. So now you're in jail because you didn't want to be a father to your own child. Not to another man's child, to your own child. He probably got with her because she was 20 years old and easily impressed by him, right? This was a military guy. He's 27, got a career, he's established, and he wanted someone that he can control and manipulate. As soon as she took control of her life, she became an enemy, period. As soon as she wanted to be more than a sex object for his pleasure, she lost value to him, okay? I wouldn't be surprised if this dude was a narcissist. Not at all. If you're willing to kill somebody because you put them in a position to have control over your life, because you couldn't control your sexual urges, and you couldn't put on a condom, and you wanted somebody young and impressionable that was going to believe all your bullshit, and then you want to punish your girlfriend for falling in love with you, which was the reason why she probably was having unprotected sex with you in the first place. This is somebody who lacks accountability. Like all narcissists lack accountability. Alright guys, I'm going to leave it there. I look forward to reading your comments. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.